Hollywood has given ghosts a bad name, so much so that Tim Burton wanted to make the original Beetlejuice into a dark and twisted horror. Beetlejuice was supposed to be a ghost who spoke in black soulful vernacular.
Hey, my man, what it look like?
Yes, I am glad that didn't happen. His main goal was to murder the Deets. Someone talked some sense into Tim Burton, and as a result, Beetlejuice became more family friendly. Yet the problem still remained. What kind of movie was Beetlejuice? Is it a horror movie about displaced spirits? Is it a movie about a haunted house? Is it about a séance? Is it a movie about a spirit who enjoys haunting both humans and ghosts alike? Well, I believe that the movie is about all these things. Most importantly, Beetlejuice is a celebration of not only goth culture, but our ability to bond with spirits. I'm going to explain how and why in this video, so please stay tuned. Okay, the secret is out. I am a mystical bitch. And yes, I do believe in ghosts. Why? Well, because there is overwhelming evidence that they do exist.
I have a feeling there's something very interesting behind this door.
Yeah, ghosts of the people who died in this house. They want us out of here.
And no, I'm not talking about Barbara and Adam walking around in $300 sheets. I mean that virtually all cultures all over the world believed in some sort of supernatural beings.
Mama Oya, I, your dutiful servant, call upon you to use me as a vessel. So together we may cleanse the space of these tormented spirits.
Some call them ghosts, others call them ghouls, others call them spirits. Indigenous people in Africa and also in the Americas believed that these spirits were our ancestors. Once our family members passed on, they would guide us from the other side. In Mexico, there's a whole holiday dedicated to the dead called the Day of the Dead. This is a day where family members put up altars to honor the loved ones who have passed on. Now, Tim Burton has even confessed that the American view of death is grim and despondent.
We'll build you a dark room in the basement, okay?
My whole life is a dark room. One big, dark room.
He went on to say that he enjoyed how people from other parts of the world didn't mourn their dead, but praised them. Western funerals are often dark and dreary, but those who honor the dead believe that funerals can be more of a fiesta, where both the living and the dead come together to celebrate. Now, we all know that ghosts, ghouls, zombies, and witches, they've gotten a bad name over the years.
I'm sure it won't be too challenging to play a uplifting Fleetwood Mac melody.
As long as you promise to hang me as a witch afterwards.
Hollywood has made a pretty penny depicting ghosts as the bad guys. They are often viewed as demonic spirits that need to be exorcised from human hosts.
Don't you hate it when that happens? Let's go, Barbara. Wait.
After all, there are countless prayers and rituals and ceremonies to rid our homes from evil and wicked spirits. But we have very few rituals in place to welcome them. In Tim Burton's other projects, such as Wednesday, we see the main protagonist experiencing psychic visions. To kill? To destroy? No, she has these visions to reconnect with her ancestors. And contrary to popular belief, her ancestors don't try and possess her, taking over her mind, body, and soul, and forcing her to do evil things.
Front, would you?
Whoa!
There you go. You don't have to kill anybody. Possession. Good. Learn to throw your voice, fool your friends, fun and party.
Rather, her ancestors guide her. Her ancestors help Wednesday put together the pieces of a murder mystery that is plaguing her school and town. Wednesday's ancestors are not mean or demonic or even evil. Rather, they are entities that guide Wednesday from the afterlife. They help her make friends and, yes, some enemies, all while helping her find herself in the process. Sadly, Tim Burton is the only artist who makes films that portray spirits, ghouls, ghosts in a good light. And that's what Beetlejuice was all about. It was about honoring and respecting our dead as opposed to being afraid of it. Like Wednesday, virtually all characters in Beetlejuice needed some guidance from the other side. Poor Lydia was distraught and alone. She turned to goth culture simply because her daily life was miserable. Mrs. Deets wanted to be a famous artist and graced the covers of famous magazines, yet her work lacked depth. She was too shallow and superficial to create real art. Mr. Deets was a washed-up real estate mogul, hoping to get his second win. Otho was pompous and pretentious, unaware of his flaws and misdeeds. And the Maitlands died, a premature death, only to come back as ghosts to help the Deets become better people. Only the Deets didn't believe in ghosts. They only believed in power and money. The Deets were amused by the Maitlands' party tricks, and instead of fleeing the house, they concocted a plan to exploit them for money. The Maitlands had no choice. They had to pull out the big dogs and summon the spirits, a free agent who simply went by the name of Beetlejuice.
You're right. I got a card around here somewhere. Here. Who do I have to kill? Here, hold that for me, would you? There. Whoa! There you go. You don't have to kill anybody.
Unlike the Maitlands, Beetlejuice was going to do whatever it took to get the job done, honey. And much like the Deets, Beetlejuice would use, abuse, and exploit people to get his needs met. Now, when I first watched Beetlejuice, he reminded me of a backwoods preacher, spewing lies about death and spirits and ghouls and ghosts and witches, all so he could amass and maintain power. Or worse, a preacher who could make a pretty penny exorcising demons and ghosts from people's homes. In short, Beetlejuice is not only a manifestation of the Deets' greed and misdeeds. Beetlejuice is a reflection of how society feels about death. We are intrigued by it, yet we are afraid of it at the same time. And the only way that we can totally accept death is if we have total control over it. Sadly, humans can never understand the ways of the dead. Yet if we sit back and accept our ignorance, then we can allow our ancestors to grab hold of the wheel. They can transform Otho by showing him just a little bit of humility. They can help Mrs. Deets become a better artist through inspiration. Mr. Deets can get a sense of self-worth by just resting in peace. And Lydia can get the parental guidance and love that she craved for. Ghosts don't have to be our enemies. They can be our allies, our friends, and even our family. This was another video essay by the Modern Mystic.